Hellcat.
Hello, welcome to tonight's episode of Sports for the People. Today I'm joined by Nick again.
Hello.
Hi, Nick. Sam, making his debut.
Howdy.
Rocking the emo haircut. Alex.
Hello.
Hello, and Jay. Hello. Jay can't see anybody else because his camera's playing up, but we can see Jay, so that's all that matters. We're going to be speaking about your club and your last couple of games since we've come back from the whole lockdown, and your next couple of games coming on. So we'll cover you, Nick, first. Chelsea, obviously, you've recently played. Who did you play again? Man City. Yeah, you beat Man City, which let Liverpool win the league. And then you won 1-0 in Leicester to move into the semi-finals of the FA Cup. So what did you think of those two performances?
Yeah, we have Villa as well. So
Villa.
I think it's been well, I've been pleasantly surprised actually with the results. I think if you'd asked me before we sort of kicked off, I wouldn't have said 3 wins from 3. I think that the Villa game, the first half looked a little bit rusty in terms of going forward. I thought we kept the ball very, very well, but we didn't really sort of penetrate at all. And it was only sort of second half when Pulisic and Barkley came on that we actually sort of looked a little bit more threatening going forward, and still a little bit susceptible at the back, shall we say. But yeah, it was a good win. Then obviously the City game. I think a few people have probably forgotten how much of a big win that was for Chelsea, to be honest, because everything was about Liverpool. If you watched the BT Sports analysis after that, it was all about Liverpool. But you got to let them have their moment in the sun.
Nice.
And then obviously, Leicester was 1-0. I think the Leicester result was an odd one, to be fair, because I think Lampard did the same sort of thing. He said that at half-time he could have made sort of 8 or 9 changes. I was watching that yesterday and I was really, worried for us. I thought we looked really sort of shaky at the back with the ball, not quite like we did sort of on Thursday. But I think when you sort of drill down into it, there was quite a few sort of players who had not played a lot of minutes. And, I think that the momentum factor is definitely a big thing since the lockdown. Players have come back, and now that there's certain players, and now that they've had those minutes, they've looked better for it. I think that's why we've seen a lot of sort of games being sort of 0-0 at half time, because players are still sort of feeling their way into those games. So I can understand why sort of the likes of Reece James and Gilmour looked a little bit off the pace, and fair play to Frank Lampard. He brought 3 subs on and really changed the game. But yeah, so if we start with Villa, I would say sort of, like I said, the first half was really uninspiring. And obviously, again, Chelsea concede from a sort of set piece. Christensen probably at fault a little bit. Some people sort of questioning Kepa, but I don't think it was really down to Kepa. I think it was sort of a bit of poor defending in general. But, 1-0 half time. And then, Frank Lampard, I think he's probably been superb in the last 3 games. Some of his decisions he's made, he brings on Barkley and Pulisic. Obviously, Pulisic scored, and Barkley's in the box, being occupying a man for Pulisic to score. So absolutely superb from Lampard. I thought it was interesting that he went with Giroud over Tammy. I thought that Giroud was obviously the number 1 choice prior to the lockdown. Tammy was probably carrying 1 or 2 injuries, but interesting that he went with Giroud over Tammy, and I think that actually that was the right decision, to be fair. But yeah, in the end, 2-1, really good win. Obviously, it's a team that we shouldn't be beating, really, but if you look at quite a few of Chelsea's defeats this year, it's been when we've struggled to break down that low block. We've 3 home defeats against Bournemouth, Southampton and West Ham, and away to Newcastle. Those are the teams that we've struggled to beat this year. I think the City game was an absolute masterclass, to be honest, from Frank Lampard. I think that really interesting that he decided to pick Barkley and Mount with Kante in midfield when Kovacic was on the bench, Jorginho was on the bench. I think Barkley really stepped up, to be fair. I thought that Pulisic deserved to come in and was superb, probably man of the match. Took his goal really, really well. Could have had another one. And also, yet again, Frank Lampard made a really good sub, bringing on Tammy Abraham, and sets up the incident with Fernandinho for the penalty. So again, another great use of the change. I think you can look at that game and sort of think City had all the ball, but they didn't really create anything. If you look at expected goals, Chelsea 3.36 to City's 0.55. I'm not massive on expected goals, but I think that sort of shows that City had a lot of possession but didn't really create a lot, and Chelsea sort of had the game plan to sit deep and counter, and clearly sort of created their chances on the back of that. And then the Leicester one, I was pleasantly surprised at that. I didn't really expect us to get anything with the team that we put out, and obviously the rustiness. But I think Leicester are in a real sort of poor moment and poor sort of spot of form, and I think they're really in danger of dropping out the top 4 and 5 at the minute. And I think we sort of, in the second half, when Kovacic came on, we looked a lot better, and a really good bit of play from Willian and a good goal from Barkley. And in the end, it probably was quite a comfortable 1-0 win in the end. So, I'm pleasantly surprised by Chelsea to start with. I think the next 5 games are going to be crucial. We've got West Ham, Watford, Palace, Sheffield United, Norwich. On paper, you'd like to think that you'd be favourites in all of those games, but as I've previously mentioned, it's been those teams that have, defended with a real low block that Chelsea have really struggled to play around. And actually, Leicester and City are the 2 teams that sort of came at Chelsea a little bit more, and actually we probably created a bit more against them than we did even against Villa. So it'll be a test to see how Chelsea can break those teams down in the next few weeks.
Yeah, I've been unpleasantly surprised at how good you've been, because I don't want Chelsea to do any good. But I think Lampard, if Klopp hadn't won the league, I think Lampard and Wilder would be fighting out for manager of the season. I think he's had a great first season at Chelsea. So yeah, I think they're doing all right at the moment. Alex, time for you to talk about Everton, mate.
2 very, very solid performances. Defensively looking really good. I think Ancelotti's finally getting together his sort of stamp on that. Back 4 wise, we've literally got 4 defenders fit at the minute. So it's been needs must. Really good against Liverpool. I can't recall Pickford having a save to make. Norwich threatened us probably more than Liverpool did, if I'm being honest with you. But again, defensively brilliant. Keane, who I've slated a few times, really, really good. The thing that worries me going forward, we have looked pretty toothless. I think Calvert-Lewin sort of lost the momentum he's picked up just after Christmas. My main worry is Tom Davies, how he is a professional footballer is beyond me. How he gets picked every week, how he's captained the side this season. Thankfully against Norwich, he was hauled off at half time because that was one of the worst sort of displays of football I've ever seen in my life.
And you used to manage Belgrave.
Exactly, yeah. I'm not, as I say, I'm not really sure where the goals are.
He had some really good centre midfielders.
Yeah, we had some really good centre midfielders like Jason, Javier, and that. But yeah, I can't see where the goals are coming from. Moyes is keen. He's just not doing it, is he?
No.
Obviously, he came on for 10 seconds against Liverpool, so I'm going to let him off on that one. But another positive, though. Another positive.
Player.
He's not.
He really is. He's literally a quality player. I would take him at Tottenham.
Well, that's because you're a shit club. I mean, I'm an unbiased host.
What has he shown this season for you to say that he's a quality player?
I would say his technique is literally like beautiful. And I'm an old school, so I'm like you guys are like 20s. I'm in my 30s.
I'm in my 30s.
All right, it's not a competition. It's gonna be all right. But at the end of the day, the guy's just got such ability, skills. He's not consistent, and that is the frustration for you.
That's it's all well and good having skills. It's putting them on in the practice in the matches, and he's not banging in goals.
I mean,
I don't think he's got the top level attitude. I don't think he's got the top level attitude. You look at when Ferguson brought him on in a game around Christmas time, and he wasn't even fit, and he had to hook him off because he wasn't fully fit. So I think something's wrong.
Yeah. Ideally, I'd like to see him get a run of games, but Richarlison's our best player. Calvert-Lewin deserves to be in the starting 11, so he's not going to get that.
I do like Calvert-Lewin. He is a quality player.
So
Alex,
he
you're
needs
not
to
his
drop
biggest
them
fan.
regardless.
Didn't mean to interrupt you. Didn't mean to interrupt you. He is a quality player, Calvert-Lewin. Mwah.
I'm not his biggest fan, to be honest, but he's done well since Christmas. I give him his dues.
Anything else to add, Alex?
Who we got next? Leicester. That's going to be 0-0. Neither of us can score goals, so if it's not 0-0, I'll be stunned. And then Tottenham. Are we home or away to Tottenham?
I believe it doesn't really matter, but I can.
We're away. We're away to Tottenham.
Hmm.
I'm going to go for a 2-1 Everton win with 2 own goals from Tottenham because obviously we can't score.
We'll discuss that later because I believe there might be somebody else in here who disagrees with that. Sam, are you up to make your little Arsenal speech?
Yeah.
I think he's realised he's a bit out of his depth after Nick's essay.
Well, yeah. I don't have my notes. I don't have nothing. But I mean, 4 games in, scraping by in the FA Cup. I mean, what have we really seen? It's just like watching paint dry. Honestly, I've been watching the Norwich games and the Everton games, and that's way more entertaining. I think I said.
Alex is like, nope.
Well, in the Sheffield game, I was like, I wanted Sheffield to score because, to give some of the players a bit of drive to do something and actually make something happen. It's just been some of the dullest Arsenal football that we've seen. I mean, the City game, I think like the first 10, 15 minutes, we came out and gave them a good bash and thought, we might scrape a point out of it, possibly even nick a winner. But like once that 20th minute went by, it was just all City the entire time. I mean, I know we had who was it that went off? Xhaka and Luiz.
Murray went off injured.
Murray, and Luiz came on for him. So, yeah, it's obviously not great, but when you've got 5 subs that you're able to make, a couple injuries shouldn't really affect you like that. Obviously, Xhaka is a key player for us. I know he's made out to be quite a scapegoat, and a lot of Arsenal fans don't like him.
Sam, can I ask you a question?
Go on.
And what do you think of Guendouzi?
He's still a bit raw, but you can see he's got the attitude that I think a lot of Arsenal fans want. He wants to go in battle. He wants to fight. I used to have a massive thing for Wilshere and Ox just because they would give the team a bit of drive. They might not have been the best players in their positions, but they would show the fans that they want to be on that pitch. I think that's what
really like that.
People at Arsenal have been asking for someone like that for the last 10 years, someone with a bit of bite in midfield and someone who's a bit aggressive. And as soon as someone, Arsenal finally get him, there's question marks around him. I think he's got potential. He's still very raw, isn't he? He's still quite young. He's only had 1 year in the Premier League, and before that, I think he was in the French second division. So I think that's the issue with Arsenal in a minute. There's a lot of players learning their trade on Arsenal's time, and I'd include the manager in that. Yeah. I think, you've got a lot of players like Saka and Nketiah and Willett and Nelson who are all good players, I think, all can be good players, but they're all very, very raw. And I think the experienced players that you mix in with there, maybe if you take out Aubameyang, are they good enough? Are they sort of the players that you're going to look up to and go, yeah, I want to aspire to that? I'm not really sure they are. I think you've got 50 million strikers in there, Lacazette, and you got Nketiah playing instead of him. So I think we could talk for hours about what's wrong at Arsenal. But
I'm sure we will one day.
I look at Lacazette and I think I'd rather have Giroud. I'd still rather have Giroud there instead of him because what game was it? I think the Sheffield game. Laka didn't really do much. He gave a bit of running off the ball, a little bit of pressing. So he might give you a bit more than Giroud does in terms of that. But if Giroud's not scoring, he's definitely still bringing people into play. And we're missing that. If Aubameyang's not scoring, what's he doing? Not much. But so we got done at City. Brighton, fucking travesty. I know again, Leno went off injured. A bit. When was that?
40th minute.
40th minute.
I don't think Leno going off had anything to do with it.
Yeah, you can't blame it on that. But yeah, just so so drab. There's no drive from the players to be there. But yeah.
I think that's a bit harsh on some of the players. I think like Nick
Well,
said,
okay, you've got the new
players.
players like Saka, who's obviously like Arsenal's player of the month for February. And he's come on and lit the team up, and he's brilliant. But where's he played lately? Left
Midfield,
back, right wing, centre mid, left wing. Yeah, he's kind of feel like while the team's in this transition, he's in like that danger zone of where Maitland-Niles has ended up, just being a utility player, just filling in the gaps, going wherever.
I don't think he's filling in the gaps. I think he's excelling in every position we're putting him in.
He's excelling in every position, but look at Theo Walcott when he came on.
I think there's 10 players in Arsenal's squad who you could pick out and just go, not good enough. Like, I think there's 4 or 5 centre-backs in there. I think Mustafi's the better player, and I think Mari's probably got a bit of potential. Holding's okay, but I don't rate Socrates, and Louise has been well documented. I like Tierney, but still quite a young player.
Phenomenal.
Bellerin, I think, has been average. I think a lot of players.
I think Bellerin's struggled to come back since his injury. I mean, he came back for the Chelsea game and obviously popped up with a goal to make it 2-2, I think it was.
Yeah.
But I don't. He's a shadow of what he used to be. I think he's not the same.
He doesn't get into any other top 6 side. He doesn't get into any other top 6 side. So.
No. But yeah, and then obviously we got the games going forward. I think Wolves, who else? Tottenham, a few other teams around us.
You got Liverpool as well.
We got Norwich and Wolves up next.
Yeah, so Wolves, Leicester, Tottenham. Three games that
easily winnable.
Yeah, if we get points, if we get take points from that, then
or easily losable.
It is Arsenal.
Yeah, well, win those games and probably could be pushing for Champions League spot, maybe.
No chance. Very optimistic.
But Europa, but then obviously it depends on if Man City's appeal gets upheld as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still think Leicester, well, you've got top 4. You've got Leicester, Chelsea, Man U will be fighting for them 3 spots behind City. And Wolves potentially, and Wolves, just not Everton.
Yeah, well, I mean, Wolves have got 9 points on us now. So, I mean, if all those games are won, which probably aren't going to happen, then possible, but we need results to go our way as well.
We do indeed. Jay, time to make your debut. Step up to the plate.
Okay, what do you want to know?
Well, I sent you a big list. How have Tottenham done in the last couple of games since they've come back? And who's been your best players and stuff?
Well, I've got a couple of issues here. Harry Kane's got 12 goals and he's been out for 3 months. Fair enough. No problems. My biggest problem is Ndombele. Biggest signing for Tottenham, 65 million. And he's not played. Why?
Well, there's been rumours. I think I saw, what day is it? I think I saw it on Monday. Oh, it is Monday. Maybe earlier today then. They had a bit of falling out with Mourinho, and he's told him he's not wanted to play again, which obviously would be kind of a little bit of an issue.
So I've got a couple of players here, which if you guys will indulge me, I will actually go through. So we've got Ndombele, biggest, most expensive signing Tottenham have ever made, 65 million. We don't spend that sort of money usually, but we have.
Yoga, isn't he?
Well, all right. Let's not get Pepe. All right. Let's not get Pepe. All right. Winksy, Harry Winks, quality player, but is he good enough? Also, you've got Lucas Moura, quality player, but is he good enough?
He scored a hat-trick in a Champions League semi-final.
He did, but that's a one-off. But I'm as a Spurs fan, consistency is where we're lacking. So I would say Lucas Moura scored a hat-trick in the Champions League semi-final. Beautiful. Winksy does it. And Ndombele scored in his debut. Brilliant. But at the end of the day, is that consistent for Tottenham?
No.
What are Tottenham? Tottenham cannot compete at the top level consistently financially with 5 other teams in the league. So,
That's what I'm saying.
I think for me, the the cycle for Tottenham is sort of coming towards a close, and you sort of need to find that next regeneration. And I think there's a handful of players in that Tottenham squad who are Mourinho type players, and I think Ndombele clearly probably sits in there. I think you know, a prime example of that would be Jose Mourinho, as I think Eric Dyer's probably played the most games for him since Mourinho's come in. Pochettino, you know, really didn't play Dyer a lot. I think that they're different types of managers clearly, and I think that you've gone from Pochettino who wants to play free-flowing sort of counter-attacking football to Mourinho.
That is exactly what Tottenham fans want. Tottenham fans want attacking, free-flowing football. That's what they want.
But you sacked Mauricio Pochettino,
and you haven't got a manager for that. And you haven't got a squad for a Mourinho.
I wasn't responsible for that.
Mourinho manager, you know. No. You know, it's very hard to play Mourinho's way unless you've got certain players, you know, who Mourinho trusts to do the certain things that he wants, you know, the team to do.
If you look through the squad, you look at like Lloris, won the World Cup winning goalkeeper,
captain, wasn't
absolute quality. Yeah, exactly. But actually, the Premier League, is he good?
I think he's had a rough. It's a bit like De Gea. De Gea's had a rough 2 years as well. I think Lloris has been down here in the last 2 years as well. I think he's had a big dip.
Who would you replace Lloris with?
Well, who do you replace him with? That's a question that you are asking me. For me, I would choose probably. Do you know what? It's an impossible question.
Gazaniga's not a bad backup. I wouldn't have him as first choice.
I don't think goalkeeper's the top of your list of issues.
No. But he is older now, isn't he? Hugo Lloris, 32?
Yeah, he's getting on.
32, which isn't too old for a goalkeeper,
that's
obviously.
Prime age for a goalkeeper.
Alex, are you 32?
No, I'm 31.
No, you got 1 year left there, mate.
Exactly, yeah.
So, right, go Tottenham from the back to the front, all right? You got Lloris, mistakes, potentially. You got Danny Rose, shipped out to Newcastle. You've got Sanchez, Alderweireld,
Vertonghen,
thank you. And then we used to have Kyle Walker, class. And then you go into the midfield and you've got a defensive midfield. You've got Sissoko, Winksy. You've got our attacking options are superb, but at the same time, that's not going to help if you've not got anything to back it up with.
You sound like an Arsenal fan.
I know, and that's what I'm saying. We're in the same position. Like Guendouzi, he's quality. I quite like that player, and I hate Arsenal, but he's a good player. But
yeah,
I said Sissoko.
I said I compared him to Dele Alli.
Last year.
Sissoko was decent last year. Yeah.
I think the issue with Tottenham is losing Eriksen was massive. Losing someone who can create in midfield was very, very big.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that everything now is down to the sort of wing sort of, you know, inside forward type players. And I think that Mourinho's doing the classic Mourinho thing where he has a sort of very attritional midfield of Sissoko, Winks, Dyer, whoever, and sort of says to Son, Bergwijn, Lamela, Kane, you know, you're free to go and sort of create us our goals. But I really sort of think that Tottenham, that in the, like you say, the fullback positions are a place where I worry for them. I think that Aurier as a defender is a really poor defender.
Mate, let's not even get me started on Aurier. Literally, he's the worst player I've ever seen.
That's a bit extreme. I've seen a lot. I can name you a lot of shit Tottenham players.
No. Aurier, like, I'll just have a red card and a penalty. That'd be great for me.
Sounds like David Luiz.
Nightmare. Yeah. Sorry to kill.
No. But yeah, Ben Davies he's a steady player, but again, I don't think he gets into many of the top six sides, if any.
That is exactly the point. Who am I talking to? Because I can't even see you.
That's Nick. He's a Chelsea fan. Right, so Nick. You've got more.
Nick. Ben Davies is exactly what you said. He's a steady player. That is not going to win you like a league or a Champions League, an FA Cup. It's not going to win you.
You're
nothing.
Tottenham. You win nothing anyway.
Yeah.
Well, Henderson's a steady player.
But this is why we don't win things, because we're shit.
Oh, thank you. That's definitely being the clip.
Try being an Everton fan then. Not
Alright,
even
mate.
reaching finals, not even getting in the Champions League.
Right, Calvert-Lewin.
Happy to finish sort of 8th.
But that's the thing.
I think
When
that
Tottenham,
the ambition at Everton is clearly changing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as
We're
you
now-
wanted Ancelotti, like,
But it's so
that was
difficult
a sign of
to break
intent.
into that top 6. It's so
Yeah.
difficult because the financial fair play rules are set up so much that you just can't go and do what Chelsea and City did 10, 15 years ago. You have to do it gradually. And I think the best thing, if Everton this season, possibly next season, got into Europa League, then the next year they'd have to do it in sort of a 3 to 5 year period. They'd have to do what Wolves and Leicester are doing, consistently qualify for Europa League and then possibly the Champions League, and then start to grow, organically like that. You can't just do what you used to be able to do and donk
No.
£200 million down and change your team. Even if Newcastle get this takeover happening, they're going to have to grow organically. It's not going to happen overnight.
No,
well, we donked 300 million down and it's got worse. So.
Well,
you
chucked it at Iwobi.
At least.
Yeah,
he was good on Wednesday.
That was it.
I thought he looked quite decent, but I think he's still on that same level he was at Arsenal. He's not really moved forward. For a right winger, he doesn't contribute enough to goals and assists to be maintaining the starting 11 spot in a top half of the league side.
Sounds like you.
Expensive player.
Luxury player that has no end product.
No one's going to pay 45 million for Sam, though.
No.
You never know. Everton is stupid.
You never know.
So, Jay, sorry. We'll go on, Alex. Did we talk about you playing Tottenham, shall we?
Yeah, I went for a 2-1 Everton win.
sorry.
Why not? Since Christmas, since Ancelotti has come in, we are, I believe, the 4th best team in the country in terms of points picked up. I remember hearing that on a television program. So yeah, why not? Let's be positive.
You got beat by the B team 4-0.
Yeah, well, that was before lockdown when I think we were all a bit scared and worried. So,
yeah, so were Chelsea when they scored.
Yeah.
Jay, what do you think the result's going to be in that game?
What, Tottenham versus Everton?
Yeah.
To be fair, like I can see a draw because I will give Everton their due, and as a Tottenham fan, I feel like we should be pushing on to like trying to win the league, but Everton are just at that Tottenham stage, and I know you won't appreciate it, but we're at that stage where you could push on, but you're not going to push on, and you're just going to sit there and just stay 10th all the time. Honestly, I've been there.
I'd say Everton.
When they play 4-2 and get it really right, they can be really tough to break down, like the Liverpool game. I thought when I watched that game, we just spoke about Alex Iwobi, but defensively he was very disciplined in that game. And I think Everton could make it very difficult for Tottenham to break them down and, hit them sort of on the counter with Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin in that game. I think I could see a draw in that game.
I'd say Everton, we're on the way up. Spurs are on their way down. By the end of next season, we'll have finished above Spurs, in my opinion.
I'm not sure about that because if they still have Mourinho in charge, but I do agree with you. Spurs are on the way. I think they've had their glory years under Pochettino where they've won absolutely nothing, but they've come close. And I think that you are on your way back down. I think Mourinho will probably go next year. I'd probably put money on Mourinho getting sacked next year.
It's a bit harsh. I do think that Mourinho is not a Tottenham manager because look at Poch. Like Poch was amazing. He's in with the players. They're all pals. It's brilliant. Then suddenly Mourinho takes over, and then it's
didn't win anything.
Yeah.
The reason why Mourinho was brought in
to win something.
Pochettino didn't win anything. They needed to go to that next level with that team, and I think Pochettino had taken Tottenham to as far as he could take them. Maybe if he had a bit more financial backing, they would have won something. But that's where Tottenham are.
Who's this guy talking right now? Because he is completely correct.
Right, Nick, you're going off because I've had enough of him licking your arsehole.
Pochettino's a poor man's Martin Yole.
Oh, man.
Oh,
Jack Dantini, bring him
And
back.
Martin Yole's a poor man's Alex Hutchins.
oh, this is just
They look
like
similar.
this is painful for me.
I would say, like I agree with you. I think Everton are on the way up. I think with their backing they've got financially now as well. I think you'll be Europa League next year, and I think Tottenham are in trouble of slipping back down to their normal 8th,
I think
9th,
so.
10th. I think Arsenal are also in trouble of doing that potentially. Unfortunately, as much as I don't like to say it.
Well, I mean, that all just depends on the next few windows, really, doesn't it? I think everyone's got it, except that Arteta needs, a shit ton of time to turn that squad around. Like that entire first 11 needs an overhaul.
I think there's a lot more work to be done at Tottenham than there is at Arsenal. As silly as I think Tottenham have better players now, but they're all aging. They're all even like their defender Vertonghen is 34, something like that. He's running out of contract. Alderweireld's just signed a new 4-year. They're older players. Danny Rose is out on loan, so you've got Ben Davis. Trippier went. Walker's gone. They're starting to go. Your top players have gone. Oh, we're not winning anything. It's like what happened with Arsenal like 10 years ago when we didn't win any trophies. All the best players went. Now we're off. Van Persie left. Sam Fabregas left. All our best players left. And I think that's exactly what's happening to you guys now. I think if Harry Kane leaves this summer, I do worry for you. I think maybe.
I think Harry Kane's missed the window. I think he's missed the window. If he was going to leave, he had to leave last year or the year before. Like, I don't see
2 points there.
coming in and spending the money that Levy would demand for him to go. I think Harry Kane stays now, to be honest. Especially when they got Benzema doing like what he did last night. That back heel was gorgeous. If anyone's seen it.
Yeah, but I wouldn't put him at a team like Real Madrid. I wouldn't. I don't think he's good enough for Real Madrid. I think he's better than Tottenham, but not at Real Madrid. So it's hard to put him at a club. Maybe Juventus potentially, something like that. Inter Milan.
I still think Kane stays.
But why leave? Why leave Tottenham?
Why leave to win trophies? He's at Tottenham. He's not going to win anything. He's not. If he stays at Tottenham, for the next 10 years, he wins no trophy in his whole career.
But also, would he?
The Audi Cup.
The Audi Cup, yeah.
You bunch of pricks. But would he finish at Tottenham's biggest, longest goal scorer of all time?
Would you rather be top goal scorer at a crappy club like Tottenham, or would you?
Well, you're asking me as a Tottenham fan.
Okay. Nick, Alex, and Sam, would you rather be top goal scorer at a club like Tottenham, or move to Juventus, score 100 goals, and win a Champions League and 2 Serie A titles?
You're assuming he scores 100 goals.
Well, I'm just saying. What would you rather do, Nick?
I would rather win the Champions League, but I don't see any club coming in this summer for Kane. And by that time, I think he'll be 27, 28 next year with his ankle injuries, which he has issues with every single year. I'm not sure I come and see anyone paying 100 and whatever million plus a 27, 28-year-old Harry Kane with dodgy ankles. So I don't see him leaving Tottenham.
It's a shame, really. I think if he had left 2 years ago, he could be at a really big club winning trophies.
It's the same with Mbappe. He's 22?
He's won the World Cup. He's got 2 goals in the World Cup final.
I haven't finished my point, so don't just throw in there.
Don't compare him to Harry Kane, please.
I'm not comparing him, but he's 22. He's won the World Cup. He's fast. He's fierce. He scores goals. 200 million. Definitely buy him. Harry Kane, 27. And as whoever was speaking, because I can't actually see, Harry Kane's got dodgy ankles, but he will score goals. You're not going to pay 200 million for him, are you?
I'd probably pay about 70. I think 70 would be fair.
70? Well, you think about that, and then you think about so Kyle Walker was 50 million.
Kyle Walker was younger when he went as well, wasn't he? Though I think, and he's got a good injury record, and he's changed the way Man City play completely.
Yeah, but some of these players are worth so much money because they got X amount of time left on their contract.
Getting rid of
Kyle Walker could have 4 years left on his contract, so he'd be worth 50 million.
And he's
With
English.
1 year left, he might be 30 million, but I digress.
I digress. Who do you think you are, Sunshine? Is there any other points that Nick, Alex, Sam, or Jay want to bring up? Since I've got you on here.
No, because every time I do, I just get smacked down.
Well, where do you think your team's finished this year?
What, Tottenham?
Everyone.
Well, I'd be looking to we're 43 points. 5th place is 52. I'd like to see us finishing above Tottenham, at least. Yeah,
bare minimum.
I think.
That's what it's come to.
That's what it's come to. Yeah. If we can get 5th or 6th, that'd be great. But let's say that depends on the teams around us losing. It depends on us beating Wolves and Tottenham and Leicester, which probably ain't going to happen. So if we can get around 6th, 7th, 6th, beat Tottenham, then I think Arsenal fans will take that for seeing out the rest of the season.
And potentially, if we get, I'd take 10th if we win the FA Cup every day. If he wants to throw all his eggs in the FA Cup basket, get into the Europa League via the FA Cup anyway, and kind of use the league as let the youngsters have a go. I'll definitely take that. Alex, what about you for Everton?
I think we will finish 8th. So I think we'll finish above we'll finish above Sheffield United. They'll fall away now, I think. We'll finish above Arsenal because they've got some horrible fixtures. And then Palace and Burnley are currently ahead of us. Maybe Southampton could spring a surprise as well. But yeah, I'd like to think we'll finish 8th.
That could get you into Europe if City's ban's upheld.
Well, then I hope we finish 9th because I don't want to get into Europa.
You don't want the money as the Europa League? Extra money?
It's every season we've been in the Europa League, we've been awful.
But then what do Everton do then? What do Everton do? Do Everton just sort of keep waiting until they're good enough to finish?
The squad we have now, if we were in the Europa League, I think would be awful. Give it 2 years. Some of our young players have progressed, whatever.
But what Nick's saying is, do you aim to finish 10th every year because you don't want to get Europa League?
No. Obviously, yeah, if we get into Europa League, brilliant, because we've finished quite high. But me personally, I'd rather we didn't get into the Europa League at this
You have to
time.
accept. I think if you want to get to the top echelons, you have to go through the Europa League. Like you look at Wolves right now, their Europa League run is
Leicester won in the Europa League.
No, but they were in the Champions League, weren't they?
Yeah. So
what I'm saying is,
you're not in the Champions League, and you're not going.
No, but I'm saying,
if you look at Wolves as an example, though, their Europa League run this year could be the building block for them for the next 2 years because they've developed after it. Even if they get the Europa League again next year, it's a good learning process for them. I think Everton, if they want to grow, that the revenues that they'd have to generate would. You get so much extra revenue from being in the Europa League, so I think it's worth it if you want to grow and you want to start competing in the top 6.
It would depend if we took it seriously, because in the past we haven't taken it seriously, so it's just been literally a complete hindrance to us. If we took it 100% seriously, then great, go for it. But
I think Ancelotti would, though. I think Ancelotti is the manager who will go out. Look at his record in European competitions: three Champions League titles, and one as a captain as well. Nick, what about you for Chelsea? I think third would be the one you're aiming for.
I think the next 5 games will be the sort of acid test. I think that if we can sort of come out of those with 11, 12 points, I think we'll finish in the top 4, which I'll be very, very happy with. If you'd offered me at the beginning of this season, after losing Hazard and not signing anyone, 4th position, semi-final of the FA Cup, I would have bitten your hand off. So I will be very, very finished in the top 4 this year. I think we will probably just about finish 4th. I think that Man United have a very nice run. Will probably just pip us to 3rd, and I think Leicester will fall away, and I think Wolves will end up finishing 5th. So I think we'll finish 4th.
Jay, what about you to finish us off?
Well, honestly, I don't think I can finish us off. Same as Tottenham can't finish anyone off because we are literally just a absolute shambles.
All doom and gloom.
What can I say? That's what we got.
So where do you think you're going to finish in the league?
I think we're going to finish 6th, just outside the top 5. and it's going to upset everyone in the world.
So you said it's all doom and gloom, and you're rubbish, and you're still going to go for 6.
Yep.
Okay, like the logic. Right, guys, we'll leave it there, and we can come back and do it again another night. So thanks, Nick. I know you're on mute, so I did it first. Thanks, Alex.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sam.
It's been a pleasure.
It always is. And thanks, Jay, for coming on.
Peace out.
Later. Cheers.